start with Coach's Award. I'll start with one of my first picks. This kid I thought was pretty advanced, very, very good, very fun to watch. Just an all-around great wrestler. I'll keep it short, Joey Hahn.
My first Coach's Award, I love these because you get to really talk about the kid and not just the wrestler, but this kid didn't want anything to do with wrestling a few years back, and it's pretty awesome watching him just persevere and stick with it and improve. And I've seen this kid take some lumps, and it's pretty amazing the transformation in his, not only his physical self, but in his mental self, because his mindset is totally different than it was 3 years ago. And it's been a real pleasure coaching him, and I'm really looking forward to watching him grow as a wrestler and as a young man. Austin Wisterman.
I think we all know why Coach Joe is now in charge of communication and Team Snap. My first Coach's Award is to a new wrestler. You know, in the beginning of the year, I put a lot of emphasis on effort and attitude in the room. Like, don't come in the room as soon as you walk through those doors. I want you to give me 100% effort with everything you got, everything you can give, and you better have a good attitude. I don't want nobody with no bad attitude, because bad attitude is contagious and bad effort is contagious, and they'll just, we want to keep the tempo in the room super high. All these kids need to be working to get better, and if you're slacking, the next guy's going to slack, your partner's going to slack, and he's going to go through the room and kind of have a mini panic attack in the room. This kid, he's a newer kid, and from the start, I was watching him, and he didn't know technique, he wasn't too good at wrestling, but he always gave it his all, and he had a really good attitude, and he really focused on the technique and the fine details that we were teaching. And he ended up winning some tough matches throughout the season, just based on what he learned. And he always had a good attitude, like I said. So my first Coach's Award is going to go to Anders Benson.
This kid is just an overall great kid, a natural leader. He also brings it every day with a great attitude, a work ethic and grind that just doesn't stop. Always coming up to you at the end of the day and thanking you for your time, and just great kid and a hard worker, and he's had a lot of success on the mat because of that. My Coach's Award goes to Gannon Drouin.
All right, my next award this goes to the kid who's pretty much coachable as it comes. I would say natural for the sport. Very, very athletic, I'll give him that. He can move, he can go out there, he can roll, he can wrestle, and he's fun to watch. Guys like that, where you don't gotta stop it. Where you really don't gotta say too much, they don't give you no problems, they just really go out there and just kind of bang with other people. And it's very fun to coach, and it's very fun to watch. And with that being said, my Coach's Award goes to Luke Schafer.
All right, my next one. One of my favorite parts about this sport is you get to see people at their highest peak, but you also get to see them at their lowest moments. And it's kind of nice because you watch these kids grow and you watch what they do, and you know they're going to come back for it. And it's like, so, they embrace the grind, and it's one of those things where I watch this kid bust his ass, pardon my language, sometimes bust his butt and work hard and strive to do great things. And he's come up short. Reminded me a lot of my son's season last year. And it came to an end at the state tournament, a little shorter than maybe I expected and he expected and that we hoped for. But I know that the fire's burning in the kid. He's a great kid. He's a great role model, and he hasn't even scratched the surface yet. And that's the kind of kid I love to coach and I love to be around. So my coach's award goes to Jack Klobucar.
My next award goes to a kid, started with his last year, kind of a goof last year, didn't really take it too serious, kind of half in, half out, super talented, but he just wasn't like wanting to go the next step and really kind of dive into it with his all. And this year, I feel like he really started scratching the surface, started giving a little more effort, paying more attention to the details, and really started to understand and see what some of the work and the time that you put into can transpire into. And I'm not really one to yell at refs, but I almost got thrown out of the county tournament because of this. This was the worst reffing I've ever seen in my life. But this kid should have won a county title and he got robbed from it. And I hope that experience doesn't tarnish him moving forward in this sport. And I don't want that one match and that one experience with a bad rep to define who he is as a wrestler, as a person. This kid's turned into a great kid, and I'm super proud of him. Aidan Perez.
All right, my next two are a little more about effort and development. A couple of new kids. This kid has been working super hard. He's taking advantage of our club, which I wish all you guys would do. He's taking advantage of almost every my way thing that's come his way. When we signed up for tournaments, I was shocked to find out that he was signed up, or not tournaments, but Jordan camp. I was super shocked to find out he was already signed up for multiple on his own, and it's gonna pay off. And this kid's future is super bright with Clarkson Wrestling. Michael Kerns Gomez.
Alrighty, for my last trophy, but not for the least one. I had to bring it back home. Kind of the reason I was here is for certain reasons, and I was to help bigger people with this sport. So that being said, this kid, I heard a lot about how last year was really tough. It was nothing but beatings, it was bruisings, and it wasn't a fun sport. It wasn't a fun time. And that's all right, because that's the beauty of the sport. You gotta get beat up to start beating people up. And the more time you invest and you learn that, you become a bruiser. And I felt like this year we scratched a little bit of what's to come. We tapped into a little bit of his potential, but it was still a great outing. And my boys ended up placing the county tournament, which was a big deal. I saw him smile more than 5 times, which was a personal goal of mine, little as you guys know. So with that being said, my last coach award goes to my big fella, Olson.
All right, for my last one, as coaches who coach their own kids, you get the stigma of, the daddy ball and he's just doing it because of his kid and whatever. And for my whole coaching career, I've tried to be the guy who stays away from that. And sometimes it's at a disservice to my own kids. where I worry about, hey, this, hey, what's people gonna think, what are people gonna think? And you start to, when you start to look back on it, you're like, well, what about my kid? The one who matters the most, where it's like, he's put in a lot of work. I can't just ignore that because I'm his coach and I'm his dad. And I did that for a long time. So when I sat down to think about this for the last couple weeks, it came down to, I watched my son grow into a great wrestler, a great young man, maturity. And I really think it kind of started last year when he didn't make the county team. And I think he put in work in the off season. He did extra work. He did freestyle. He did Greco. He did all those things that he'd never done before. He always did the bigger things like, hey, we have a weight here. You need to go up. He never complained about it. Was always a good teammate in those aspects. So, in his 8th grade year, I think it was time to give him his due. And I've been really fortunate to coach him, and this might be one of the last years I get to. So I wanted to send him out the right way. So my last coach's award, Connor Berden.
This one kind of started out the season a little rough. Kind of just watched, like, oh man, what's going on over there? Like some falling down, but he always got back up and kept coming back for more. Suffered some losses at first, but he kind of would get back to the drawing board and started kind of just going over and cranking up the intensity and pushing the pace a little bit, and he responded, so he did a little bit more, and he responded a little bit more, and that translated into some wins. So when we talk about good attitude, who's going to show up and work hard, and then that translates into some wins, and as a first-year wrestler, I feel like, that just should be recognized, and then hopefully that continues with him for the rest of his wrestling career. Jax Guyton.
All right, my last award goes to a kid that I started coaching here with Joe and Scott 3 years ago. This kid's been here since then, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Definitely went through a lot of physical maturity. Had a lot of success the past 2 years. First year was a little rough for him. Super great kid, great energy to be around, great sense of humor, which I like. Always a hard worker, never have to question his work ethic. And just whenever we have issues with kids on the bus or not acting right, we gotta go talk to bus drivers and stuff like that. He's one of the ones that we never hear about getting in trouble, so I'm pretty sure he's a pretty good kid outside of the wrestling room. We have something in common. I think both of our knees are made out of Ritz crackers, because mine's torn up and his is torn up, so hopefully you can get that taken care of. But my last coach's award goes to Aidan Newton.
And all that in spite of who his father is. Good job, Dozer. So, great season, sending the 8th graders up to high school. 2 years ago we started doing this.